A woman wakes up 6 days after undergoing an emergency C-section in complete horror after discovering she no longer had legs. The decision devastated the mother of 8, who was left to figure out how to raise her children while being bound to a wheelchair. The birth of a child can raise a lot of questions for moms-to-be, from how the little one would cope to how smooth or rough the birthing experience would be. For C-section moms, there's an added worry of undergoing major surgery. These are normal reactions to such a life-changing moment, and most moms come out of the experience filled with joy at the sight of their newborn. But for one woman, the birth of her child resulted in a life-shattering development back in 2016. Ella Clark was completely relaxed when she traveled to the hospital at 36 weeks for an emergency C-section. As a mother of 7, she already knew what to expect and how the whole process would play out. Ella delivered her first child at 18 normally. It was an unpleasant birthing experience, which prompted her to opt for C-sections in her succeeding pregnancies. After birthing 7 children, she already considered herself a pro. Unlike her previous elective C-sections, the 7th, with her would-be 8th child, was for medical reasons. She was diagnosed with placenta previa, a condition where the placenta partially covers the cervix, which meant a C-section was imminent. At the operating room, Ella recalls telling her husband, Ian, how excited she was. They had been dreaming of going on a holiday vacation together, and it was all about to happen really soon. It took doctors 45 minutes to deliver her daughter Winter Rose. She came out weighing 6 pounds and 5 ounces and was given to her mom for some skin-to-skin contact. Ella realized things weren't going well when they suddenly took Winter Rose away from her just less than a minute after she first held her. The next thing she heard was something that sounded like a big bucket of water dropping on the floor, after which doctors immediately placed a mask over her mouth to put her to sleep. That was Ella's final memory before waking up from her induced coma 5 days later. She was in complete shock when they began to walk her through what happened. Ella learned that the gush of water she heard was actually blood she had lost. She suffered a complication known as placenta accreta, which is common among women who have undergone consecutive C-sections. After discovering this, doctors did an emergency blood transfusion on Ella to save her. They also performed a hysterectomy, hoping it would somehow stop the bleeding. After the surgery, Ella was placed in an induced coma and was monitored by doctors in the intensive care unit. They checked on her every hour, as placenta accreta was a condition known for causing blood clots. However, Ella would learn later that, at some point, doctors took 6 hours to check on her. By that time, she no longer had blood circulating in her legs. She was immediately rushed to the operating room, where doctors tried to get the circulation going again. Unfortunately, it was too late, and doctors needed to find a way to stop poisonous toxins from spreading from her legs to the rest of her body. In a bid to save Ella's life, doctors sought permission from her husband to amputate her legs. Ian agreed for as long as it meant saving his wife's life. The amputation took 8 hours, rendering Ella asleep for a couple more days until she finally woke up. When she did, she thought she was still waking up from her C-section and that it was time to finally hold her baby girl. Instead, doctors revealed the whole story, and it devastated her. Realizing the gravity of the situation, she said, "I went from being an active mom to instantly wheelchair-bound. I couldn't stop crying." While Ella struggled with the thought of having to live without her legs, her older children were affected as well. One of them refused to look at her without a blanket covering her legs out of fear, while her eldest daughter began to perform poorly at school. Ella's entire family dynamic changed, as she could no longer do normal activities with her children like she would before. She could no longer run after her kids, play with them at the park, and care for them like she used to. After blaming her fate on the hospital staff's carelessness, the hospital issued an apology, one that was of no real use to Ella, whose life was shattered. The hospital's oversight changed the course of her life forever, and that's something she and her family would have to deal with for the rest of their lives. To make matters worse, there were people who responded unkindly to Ella's plight. Instead of showing compassion, one rude commenter implied that the reason why Ella was so open to having that many children was because she had benefits, and taxpayers kept her family fed. I literally have no words for this comment, Ella responded. Another person took a jab at the fact that Winter Rose was Ella's 8th baby, saying, "You should have tried closing your legs." Despite this, the mom left no comment unanswered, including this one, telling the person she should have kept her mouth shut. Through it all, Ella has chosen to see the bright side of things. While she can no longer do certain things with her children, she finds comfort in knowing she's still able to live a good life with them and make the most out of every day.